Fire falls from heaven, and 2 cities vanish in smoke.
What made God so angry that he destroyed everything in one terrible night?
Before great empires rose, a fertile valley sparkled with promise and hidden darkness. Not just wealth filled these cities, but wickedness that cried out to heaven. Abraham stood on the hill, watching clouds gather over distant towers. His gray hair danced in the desert wind as God's voice came. "Leave your land and go where I will show you, Abraham. I will make your children as many as the dust of the earth." With him traveled Lot, his nephew, drawn to the valley's shining riches. Their herds grew so large that their shepherds began fighting over water and grass. "Uncle, let's separate, so our servants won't fight anymore. Choose any direction, and I'll take the opposite path, nephew." Lot lifted his eyes and saw Sodom's green valley stretching like an emerald carpet below. The towers and gardens of those cities sparkled like jewels set in desert sand. "I choose the Jordan Valley, where I will surely prosper, Uncle Abraham." Abraham watched him leave, then heard God speak again with a promise of countless descendants. Golden light fell on Abraham as tears streamed down his weathered face. Meanwhile, Lot entered Sodom's gates, surrounded by wealth, applause, and curious watching eyes. Men were handsome but proud. Women wore gold and painted their faces with bright colors. At every corner stood idols, and in every square people celebrated with wild parties. Lot tried to stay good, but his family was changing. His wife loved the fancy clothes and started judging him with silent looks. "Not everything here is evil, Lot. Maybe we should try to fit in better." At night, Lot would go outside and look north toward Abraham's tents on the hills. What draws you to those empty hills when everything sparkles here? The parties in Sodom lasted until dawn, and children learned to ignore what was right. Old people were mocked in the streets, and justice had been completely banned from the city. Above the city, invisible angels were already walking, and the time for judgment was approaching. Lot woke from a dream of fire falling from the sky and people screaming. His hands shook as he looked at his sleeping wife and daughters in the darkness. That same morning, Abraham sat at his tent when 3 mysterious men approached from nowhere. Their faces were calm, but their presence carried power that made the air feel heavy. "My lords, please rest here and let me bring you bread and water." Abraham served them meat and milk while standing respectfully as they ate under the trees. "Where is Sarah, your wife? And when will she have the promised son?" "I will return at the right time, and Sarah will give birth to a son." Sarah laughed behind the tent curtain, thinking she was too old for children. Why did Sarah laugh when nothing is too difficult for the Lord? Abraham realized these weren't ordinary men, but angels, and one was the Lord himself. When they stood to leave, they looked toward Sodom with serious, troubled faces. "Should I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do to those wicked cities?" The outcry from Sodom has grown very loud, and their wrong choices are extremely serious. Will you destroy good people along with bad ones in that terrible judgment? What if 50 good people live there? Will you spare the city for them? I will spare the whole city if I find 50 good people living there. Abraham bargained down to 45, then 40, 30, 20, and finally just 10 people. If only 10 good people are there, I will not destroy the city. The angels left, and Abraham stood alone, watching the valley with a heavy heart. What kind of evil makes heaven itself come down to judge? In Sodom, 2 angels crossed the gates as the sun was setting behind stone walls. Their clothes were clean. Their eyes shone with fire no human could contain. Lot saw them and immediately knew they weren't ordinary travelers passing through the city. Please come to my house, wash your feet, and stay safely until morning comes. That night, evil men surrounded Lot's house, demanding he bring out the visitors. Bring them out so we can hurt them. Open this door right now. Brothers, please don't do this terrible evil against my guest tonight. Who are you to judge us, you foreigner who thinks he's better? Brilliant light burst from the door and the angels pulled Lot inside to safety. The evil men outside were struck blind, stumbling and hitting each other in confused darkness. Do you have family here? Sons, daughters? Anyone else we should save? We're going to destroy this city because its outcry has reached the Lord. How do you choose between saving family and escaping certain death? Lot ran through dark streets to his sons-in-law, warning them to flee immediately. The Lord will destroy this city. We must leave right now before dawn. They laughed at him, thinking he was joking or had drunk too much wine. Destruction stories can wait until tomorrow, old man. Go back to your house. At dawn, the angels grabbed Lot's family by their hands and pulled them out. Run for your lives. Don't look back. Don't stop anywhere on the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be consumed by the coming judgment fire. Please, I can't reach the mountains. Let me escape to that small town. That town is so small and close, surely I can make it there. Go quickly, for I can do nothing until you arrive there safely. The sun rose as Lot's family reached the small town called Zoar. Then it happened. Flames fell from heaven like rivers of burning judgment. The ground shook violently as towers split and walls crumbled like sandcastles. Screams echoed through the valley, but no one was left to hear them. Not just buildings burned, but every living thing in those cities vanished. What would make you look back at certain death behind you? Lot's wife stopped and turned, searching for something in the burning city below. Maybe her other children, maybe her jewels, maybe the life she loved. In that moment of looking back, she transformed into a pillar of salt. Her body hardened instantly, frozen forever as a statue on the burning plain. Lot fell to his knees while his daughters screamed at the terrible sight. From the hills, Abraham saw smoke rising like a giant furnace reaching heaven. Tears filled his eyes as he prayed silently for any survivors below. God remembered Abraham and saved Lot from the destruction for his sake. The smoke kept rising for days, reminding everyone what happens when evil goes too far. Lot couldn't stay in Zoar with people staring and whispering about his salt wife. They climbed to the mountains and lived in a cave, far from everything. His daughters, thinking the world had ended, made a terrible plan for children. From their wrong choices came 2 nations that would trouble Israel for generations. Even after judgment, the effects of Sodom's evil echoed through time. Where once cities sparkled, only black earth remained as an eternal warning. Prophets would point to Sodom, saying, "Remember what happens to those who reject God." Yet from Lot's line would come Ruth, who chose God and became King David's ancestor. Even from ashes and wrong choices, God can bring redemption and hope. Abraham watched Isaac grow, teaching him about the God who judges, but also saves. The same sky that opened in fire also opens with promises of blessing. Never forget, God hears every cry, sees every wrong choice, and judges fairly. But he also shows kind forgiveness to those who turn back to him.